they've gone and done it again. Just as I'm really enjoying Black Ops 6, I don't have a bad word to say about it. I haven't done a rant video for absolutely ages. They come out of an announcement that just annoys me again. It just puts me back in that mindset of, this is just what Activision do, isn't it? This is what they're like. And now, in this video, it is going to be another rant video. I know some of you enjoy those and have been looking forward to another one. I'm going to be talking about gobblegums. And I actually just did a video about gobblegums. I just did a video as a kind of guide for new players on how to use them. But in the new Battle Pass blog post that they've put out, they've got a section right near the end where they start talking about all the new store bundles, all the new skins that you can buy for 20 quid. And they say, plus gobblegum packs and more. This is just a preview of new content arriving in the Season 1 store. Also, keep an eye out for gobblegum packs, a new store item that once purchased provides a collection of delicious and powerful single-use gobblegums to consume during your future zombies deployments. So, as a lot of people expected them to do, they might have even kind of said that they were going to do this at some point, but I had hoped that it wasn't going to happen. They are going to be selling just gobblegum packs on the store. Now, this isn't like, you know, in DMZ and MWZ where they were selling little boosts and little advantages attached to bundles as like part of the battle pass or something like that. This is a specific thing where you can buy a pack of single-use gobblegums. So you can decide, hey, I'm going to be trying to do the Terminus main quest, or the new map's coming out. I'm going to be trying to get world first in that. I need some perkaholics, so I can buy a pack that will cost real money. Well, you know, it'll cost COD points, but you get that via you spending real money. And you'll get some perkaholics, or you'll get some idolize, or whatever it is that you think you're going to need. There'll probably be a pack of gobblegums that you can buy to help you achieve that. Now, I'm going to sort of start my big rant, really, by going on the other side. Let's defend gobblegums. There's plenty of good arguments to say that this isn't much of a big deal. The big one is that even if you consider this pay to win, even if you consider this to be buying yourself a big advantage, this is a PvE game. You're not really competing against anyone. Who cares? I mean, I know there's the Easter egg race, or there's races to be the first person to get round 999 and things like that. But I don't think many people really care that much about that. And there's going to be lots of players like me who just haven't been using their gobblegums the whole time. So I'll have some perkaholics to use when that new Easter egg comes out, the new map comes out. So that's not really going to like hold me back. And it's just some people who have been making the kinds of content where they use perkaholics and stuff like that, they can now pay some money to catch up. That's not like the end of the world. Because it's not a PvP game, the idea of pay to win doesn't really matter in that way. It's not like I'm going to be worried, oh no, my competition are going to be able to get more gobblegums than me. That's not really what this is all about. And lots of people have argued that gobblegums aren't really necessary anyway. You can have a lot of fun in zombies. I've barely used gobblegums for the last like couple of weeks. I've been doing weapon grinds, like camo grinds and things like that. I've not really been using gobblegums. They're not essential to the experience. They're just kind of an extra little thing that you can do if you want to hop on zombies and get something done quickly or a little bit easier. You can buy a gobblegum or use a gobblegum right now, but eventually you'll be able to buy gobblegums to do that, and it doesn't affect anybody else at all. Like, everyone else has still got a game that they can happily play without gobblegums, and then people that want to use them can. I actually, as soon as I put a tweet up about being a bit annoyed about this, somebody replied, and I think this is completely reasonable. This is someone called Forbid3K saying, hey, I disagree. Ideally, zombies shouldn't have a microtransaction system in their opinion, but that's completely unrealistic given the free content we're getting. And I think it's fine for the most part because the game is built around gobblegums. They mostly just skip some progression that is rather easy. So yeah, it's skipping a little bit of progression that's quite easy. Lots of games, like I've seen a lot of, I think, EA games in the past, like single player games, have done things like this where you can buy like a map to show you where all of the collectibles are, or you can buy something that lets you skip a little bit of a grind in single player or something like that. And that's, you know, not hurting anyone else. It's just some people have a bit more disposable income and some people have a bit more disposable time. So why not kind of give people the option? Well, now we'll get on to the main part of my rant. Why I think gobblegums are kind of a bad thing, and I think this whole idea of selling gobblegums is a really bad thing. And that's because it inevitably changes the game design. And I don't really see how you can get around this issue. That if you're trying to sell something, if you're trying to sell something that makes the game easier in some way, or you're trying to sell something that lets you skip a bit of a grind or something like that, there's always going to be an incentive for the developers or the game company to make the game a little bit more tedious, or to make the game a little bit harder than it needs to be, because that gives people an incentive to buy it. If you're selling something that makes something easier or faster, the incentive is to make the game more difficult or a little bit longer. Even just taking gobblegums and assuming they have to be a part of the game, you could think, oh, well, there is a system where you get gobblegums dropped in game. You know, you get some free gobblegums. But since they're selling them, the incentive is for the developers to make it so you don't get as many as you would otherwise, that you don't get as many good ones as you want. I just watched a video where someone was analysing gobblegum drop rates and came to some really interesting conclusions about whether or not you get better gobblegums on later rounds and things like that. But as part of his research, he'd spent 24 hours in game, so not all in one go, but across all the games he studied, he'd spent 24 hours playing the game, and he'd only got 4 ultra gobblegums. So even if you're one of those people that's like, oh, well, gobblegums like Perkaholic and stuff, they just mean, you know, you can have a bit of extra fun every now and again. He only got 4 ultra gobblegums in 24 hours of gameplay, and I think only one of those was a Perkaholic. That's a pretty slow rate. And you'd think, oh, well, if they just make the game fun, why don't they make them just, like, available for everyone? Why don't they make it so everyone can have a gobblegum and have a bit more of this fun? Well, it's because they're going to sell them, because they're going to make you want to buy them. They give you a little taste, you know, just giving you a little bit of a try. I'm not going to say who uses that strategy to sell things, but, you know, just give you a little taste for free. But then when you want more, oh, now you need to pay. Now you need to cough up some money. Now, it feels a bit to me like this is the kind of model that a lot of single-player mobile games use. Think things like, you know, Raid Shadow Legends. I know Raid Shadow Legends probably has a multiplayer, but for most people's experience of games like that, you download a free game, and the first few hours of it, you can have loads of fun. You're making really good progress, you get loads of cool little, you know, heroes or whatever. This video isn't sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, by the way. It probably would have been a good choice. I should have asked them about it. But anyway, it's not sponsored. But you play Raid Shadow Legends, and I genuinely believe you can have a decent amount of fun for a couple of hours with a game like that. And then what inevitably happens with those free-to-play games is that you hit a wall at some point where all of the free stuff they were giving you dries up. All of the free stuff you got given at the beginning of the game suddenly won't quite cut it. It's not quite good enough. And then it becomes a case of, okay, now you really need to pay some money. Now you need to cough up some money. This is kind of the, you know, a paywall. It's a big barrier that the developers have purposely created where they made it fun for the first part and then they made it kind of suck because it's too difficult. And the only option if you want to keep on playing is to spend some money, is to get more. And this is, I think, a kind of similar thing with gobblegums where you can use them, you get a bunch of them at the beginning for free. You'll get some included in a battle pass. You earn a fair few as you're playing, but you won't earn the really good ones. And then at some point, people will burn through them. People will use them up. People, especially who don't really understand that gobblegums actually do get used up. And I think there's a lot of people, judging by the reaction to my video that I put out, there's a lot of people who didn't really know that gobblegums were a one-use thing, that once you used them, that one was gone out of your inventory and you just have to wait until you get more. People will burn through them and they'll be like, oh, I was really having a good time with those gobblegums. I was able to, like, go do the boss fight really quickly, or I was able to, like, burn through levels really fast, or get loads of, you know, camos grinded out on these weapons using the gobblegums. But now I don't have any more. Now the game's stopped giving me them. What am I going to do? And then, you know, the game comes a knocking and says, well, you could buy them. We don't know how much they're going to cost. I wouldn't be surprised if you have to get a pack of gobblegums that'll cost, like, I don't know, 1,200 COD points, something like that. So it'll be about £10. And then out of that, you'll get like 1, maybe 2 perkaholics, and then a bunch of other gobblegums that you don't really care about. I'm assuming that's probably what will happen. I might be wrong. Maybe they'll make them much cheaper. Maybe they'll be much more expensive. I've got no idea. So they're going to be doing that, just like, you know, Raid Shadow Legends does, or, I don't know, probably Candy Crush or whatever other popular mobile games do. I don't really know. I don't really play mobile games. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, it's fine. Like, you know, what's the problem? Those games are doing that. Why can't COD do that? And the first obvious problem is that Black Ops 6 Call of Duty Zombies isn't a free-to-play game. It's a game that a lot of people have already paid quite a lot of money to play. I think the Vault Edition is like 100 quid or something. The normal edition, wasn't it like 60, 70 quid? I know lots of people got it from Game Pass and things like that. But the idea is that it's a premium game that you've already paid quite a lot of money for. And now this is an extra thing that they're asking, you know, oh, you had fun with those gobblegums we gave you. If you want to keep on engaging with that part of the game, you're going to have to spend some money. And obviously the rate that they give you free gobblegums is going to be just high enough that they can argue, oh yeah, well, we give you them for free. You don't need to pay for them. But it's not reasonable to farm gobblegums. Like, it's not reasonable. If you decide, okay, the next Zombies map's coming out, I'd like to have like 3 perkaholics, so I've got 3 decent attempts at the boss without having to like spend ages farming essence. They can say like, well, you know, you can farm up those ones if you want. But if it takes you 24 hours of in-game time just to get 1 perkaholic, that's not reasonable. That's not a reasonable thing to ask. You know, lots of people will be like, oh, I'd rather just, you know, spend a little bit of cash and then I'll definitely be ready. And like I said earlier, I think it will inevitably, even if the developers have the best interest of gamers at heart, I think it will inevitably lead to some pressure on them to... Sorry, I'm not really paying attention in this game, that's why I just didn't bother with that insta-kill. It will lead some pressure being on the developers to think, oh, well, I probably should make it so people want these. People want to buy these perks. Now, I know Call of Duty's already had microtransactions for years and years and years. Like, they've had bundles and skins, cosmetics and things like that. And even that changes the gameplay design a little bit, because obviously in older games, you know, you're playing something like GoldenEye on the N64. If you wanted to unlock all of the other skins to play in multiplayer, you had to beat the game. Like, you had to complete the game in order to unlock all of that stuff. You had to do something, and it was kind of a fun reward for a challenge. There's been plenty of games, you know, over the last few decades before microtransactions came in, where there was loads of really cool cosmetic stuff you could get, and you got it as a reward for doing cool challenges in the game. And then over time that got replaced with, okay, we're going to take those fun challenges out of the game, and instead we're going to make you pay for them. We're just going to make you pay for these cool cosmetics. So we're kind of taking out that fun progression system of, let's put a fun challenge in the game and you get a cool cosmetic as a reward, and replace it with, hey, look at all of these cool cosmetics, pay us £10 for them, pay us £20 for them. And I think that kind of sucked. You know, I'm not a big fan of that at all. I know there's lots of people that think microtransactions are fine as long as it's all about cosmetics, whereas I'm like, this is already taking away something that used to be fun in games and replacing it with something that's worse. And now they're not just doing it with cosmetics, you know, they're doing it with gameplay mechanics, with gameplay features, things where they're like, okay, we're going to make the game a little bit grindy. We're going to make setups in zombies take quite a long while. Lots of people have complained that Essence takes quite a long while to farm, and things are quite expensive because, you know, you want to pack a punch your gun 3 times, you want to get all of the perks, and it's not like the old days where we used to just have 4 perks. Instead, you can have loads of perks now, and they're adding new ones. That grind is a big part that's sort of baked into the game, and you can kind of skip it if you want using gobblegums, but it's going to cost you money. It's going to be an extra cost. Now, obviously, another part of the argument against all of this is they have to get ongoing revenue somehow. Ignoring the fact that Call of Duty is one of the best-selling games every year, and they make billions, or hundreds of millions, I don't know. They make a lot of money. If they want to keep on providing us with extra maps, you know, we're getting a new Zombies map already, pretty soon after launch. And Call of Duty has been pretty generous over the last few years with the amount of multiplayer maps we get and Warzone editions and new weapons and new operators that are kind of rewards from challenges and things like that. All of that stuff is kind of going to cost money. You know, there's lots of people working on it, and just keeping the servers turned on because, you know, Zombies is always online now. All that stuff has a cost. All of that stuff is going to cost them money. And so they have to earn some sort of ongoing money to offset that, I assume. Oh, good. I thought I was going to miss that. So, you know, they need to have some sort of revenue. And they used to do it in the olden days with DLC packs, where you'd get a Zombies map and then you'd get a handful of multiplayer maps as well. That was a thing for quite a long time. And a lot of people didn't like that because it splits up the player base. You know, it's always sucked if you were playing Call of Duty and you wanted to play with your friends a few months after launch. And then it was like, you've got all the new multiplayer maps, but they don't, so you can't play on any of the things that you've bought because your friends don't own them. That sort of thing really sucked. Like, that wasn't great at all. But it did kind of make sense, to me at least, like with the Zombies maps, that, you know, you would essentially be buying a new map. You'd spend 15 quid to get a new Zombies map, and it was like, oh, cool, this is like, you know, more entertainment, and I'm spending 15 quid or however much for it. That seemed okay. And now this whole thing of like, okay, now some people are going to spend money on gobblegums and that's going to fund it, or some people are going to spend money on cosmetics, some people are going to spend money on the battle pass, that's going to fund it. This is just an alternative model. I kind of think all of them are crap. All of them are just working on the basis of, let's make the game a little bit less fun. Let's, you know, make some cool stuff for the game that you've already bought, but we're not going to give it to you unless you give us even more money. Now, with everything being always online, my alternative to this system, my alternative to using microtransactions and gobblegums and, you know, cosmetics that you have to buy has always been the same. And I've talked about it lots of times, that maybe instead of doing that, they could just do a subscription. Just do something where you pay a subscription for your, you know, Call of Duty account, your Warzone account. You pay £10 a month like you do for Netflix or Disney Plus or Apple TV or whatever, like you do for World of Warcraft and something like that. And included in that, you get whatever the newest Call of Duty game is. You get access to Warzone, you get access to Zombies and, you know, maybe campaigns and things like that. And then you also get access to all of the new maps. You also get access to all of the cosmetics. You know, maybe they could be tied back to fun rewards and stuff like that. If they decide gobblegums are the way to go, they could include gobblegums. You know, you just get them. If you do a good exfil, then you get a really good gobblegum. You know, you want to get a Pokeholic, you have to exfil round 51 or something. I don't know. They could come up with some fun challenge to do it instead. That would make the game a lot more fun. You'd end up spending around the same amount of money on it per year, maybe a little bit more if currently you don't pay for any cosmetics or anything like that. But it would just seem like a fairly fair thing. You know, if you don't play Call of Duty anymore, you don't like what they're offering, then you'll stop your subscription. So that gives them an incentive to keep things feeling fresh, keep things feeling, you know, keep people wanting to play a little bit more. Like how Xbox Game Pass always feels like they need to release a new game every month. They need to try and have some big hitter to make people renew that subscription. Call of Duty would do the same, but they wouldn't be trying to piece out all of the little fun things and trying to add in long, boring grinds or add in artificial difficulty or something. Basically adding in problems that then they can sell you the solutions to. Because that's really like, that is the business plan. And it's not just Activision that are doing this. Lots of people are doing this. YouTube does it, you know. Oh, we're going to put loads of really annoying adverts in all the middle of the videos that you want to watch. But you can get rid of that if you pay 20 quid a month for YouTube Premium. Or, you know, Twitter saying, oh, you know, we're going to make it so your replies, your posts aren't going to get seen by as many people, but you pay for Twitter Blue or X Pro or whatever it's called now. And then that makes that problem go away. They're just manufacturing a problem and then selling you a solution to it. And I feel that's what gobblegums are. Gobblegums are just, you know, they've made a problem in Zombies that the setup stage of Zombies is a little bit boring. It takes too long. You know, if you just want to do the story stuff, you just want to do the Easter egg, or you just want to do some Dark Ops challenges, you've got a lot of boring setup, and then they're like, oh, but we can sell you a way to skip that boring section of it if you want. You can just buy some gobblegums and skip it. And I think that sucks. I'd rather just have the thing without the problem in the first place. I'd rather they hadn't introduced that problem in the first place. So, I don't know. I mean, like, in this game is a good example. I decided when I was recording this, I was just going to hop on and then maybe try and work towards getting Opal with this machine gun. The only thing I need to do for Opal is kill a load of manglers with it. I think I need to kill 30 manglers. And to get to the point where there's lots of manglers spawning, I just need to play through loads and loads of rounds. I just need to play absolutely tons of this for ages, all the time I've been talking so far, before I even really start seeing manglers. I've seen one so far in all of this time. Admittedly, I don't think there's a gobblegum that would change that now. There's not a gobblegum to spawn 30 elite zombies. Maybe that'll be an idea for a gobblegum in future. Activision, if you're watching, why not do a gobblegum that spawns 30 manglers so you can get Opal immediately? That seems like a good idea, doesn't it? Anyway, that's enough of me ranting for today. I just wanted to get this off my chest, because it's one of those things where I get it's not a really big problem. I get lots of people can just ignore gobblegums, and I get that it's not pay to win because it's not a PvP thing, so it's not really affecting me at all if other people want to buy gobblegums, except for the fact that it's probably changed the way they've designed the game to make it less fun for me because I don't want to buy gobblegums, and I think that kind of sucks. I'm happy giving Activision money for Call of Duty. I just kind of wish it wasn't in a way where the product was less good because they wanted to sell me solutions to problems that they themselves created. So, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think it's annoying that they're selling gobblegums? Do you like gobblegums in general? Do you think they're a good system? Obviously, we've had some zombies games with them now, and we've had plenty of zombies games without them. Would you prefer they were in the game or not? How do you feel about how Call of Duty should make ongoing money anyway? Do you think that they should have some other method, or do you think what they're doing works? Let me know in the comments. I'd like to sort of get involved in some discussions and things like that. If you like these kind of videos, these kind of ranty ones, let me know by giving the video a like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, and I'll see you for the next one. Goodbye.